It's been fun going over some theories for Poppy Playtime over the last week, and I have another thing I want to discuss. About a week ago, Mob Entertainment released a song onto their YouTube channel called Sleep Well. Now, it's just a song, so we can only take so much from it, but I do think that the lyrics and the visuals can give us some information and possibly some clues as to what's happened so far in Poppy Playtime and what will come in the future. Or at the very least, we can connect some dots. So let's get into it. The first scene opens up within Playcare, and quite frankly gives us a much better look at the facility and actual good lighting, with all the smiling critter statues sitting atop the middle room. Kissy Missy is the one standing in here with her standard arm-holding pose. A little unrelated, but we saw a picture of a young girl in the third chapter that Kissy Missy was holding, which is likely her prior to the operation. And I just want to point something out from this picture of a bunch of the Playcare orphans. Notice the girl on the right and the pose that she has? Looks pretty familiar is all I'm going to say. Anyway, moving back to the music video. We also see Mummy Longlegs and Bunzo Bunny in the next frame from the game station that featured in Chapter 2, and finally Huggy Wuggy sitting at the same security post that we saw him in Chapter 1. So conveniently, within 3 frames, we've seen all 3 chapters. We also have Catnap in all of his terrifying glory within the bedrooms, within Playcare, while the lyrics mention how the children all have each other, and each other is all they need. I believe that this song is sung from the perspective of the children, rather than the staff members. So it shows that the orphans within Playcare shared a close bond with one another, and possibly looked out for each other. We get our first mention of the Hour of Joy as the lyrics speak about this paradise, probably pointing back to Elliot's vision of Playcare to be a paradise for the orphans, one where they can smile freely. I thought about all that could have been, if we had never done the things we did, if we had realized all our sins. This line is pretty damn sad in reality, as it's referring to the Hour of Joy from the orphan's perspective, and putting out the possibility that not every participant was happy with what they did, coming to regret it or to feel guilty about what they did within their paradise. Our next shot is Catnap within the bedroom again, but this time he's joined by numerous other toys, including Kissy Missy, Huggy Wuggy, Bunny Bunzo, Bron, Dog Day, PJ Pugapilla, Cat Bee, Boogie Bot, Candy Cat, Hoppy Hopscotch, Boxy Boo, Crafty Corn, and these little yellow and blue guys here, which is some of the mini Huggies that can be found within the Whack a Wuggy minigame within the game station. Huggy and Kissy are together within Playcare, and this might be the first time we've actually seen these two together. I think it might be, correct me if I'm wrong. Once again, as the song reiterates how all the children have each other, we see Poppy Playtime in her signature room, which she was once held prisoner within her cage. The song begins chanting, "In the Hour of Joy" repeatedly, while we see our 3 main antagonists for the 3 chapters of Poppy Playtime thus far, as well as Poppy herself looking very distressed. I must say, throughout this video, Poppy does not look like she is having a good time at all, and I think her clear look of horror is more likely than not referencing her view on the Hour of Joy as a whole. Remembering back to Chapter 3, Poppy mentioned how horrific the day was and how much she hated it. It scared her, and I think that we're seeing this all again within this music video. Artificial facade from a fraud of a god. I got a few things I want to mention about this line in particular. Firstly, the character on screen for this is Catnap, which I think gives a further clue as to who this is talking about. There is only one character that has been viewed as a god thus far within Poppy Playtime's universe, and that is the prototype. And the person that actually views him that way is, well, you guessed it, Catnap. So the lyrics are pointing out just how Prototype is a fraud of a god, because he simply isn't one, regardless of what Catnap thinks of him. But it does make a little more sense if Elliot Ludwig turns out to be the prototype. Elliot Ludwig would be the closest thing to an actual god in this universe, since he created Playtime, the Playcare facility, and from what we can tell, was most likely the catalyst to the formula that was later used in the Bigger Bodies Initiative by Dr. Sawyer. Elliot technically created everything, much like a god would. And then onto the artificial facade part. The prototype is the literal embodiment of artificial, and his voice seems to be a pitch changer of some kind, much like a robot would also. There is very little about the prototype thus far that seems organic in any way whatsoever, but judging from the song lyrics, could it be possible that the robotic aspect of the prototype is simply a facade, and behind it all is just a normal human being? An interesting point to think about. All due to the path we trod, we just wanted to heal, but now our nightmares are real, and now we will never wake up, for we've torn apart. Again, really a sad perspective for the orphans. I believe the line of wanting to heal is likely from the perspective of losing their parents, and have come to play care looking to heal from that. But now, due to being turned into toys, their nightmares are real. And due to that, and what they've been doing during the Hour of Joy, hinted to by the "we've torn apart" line, they will never be able to wake up from this nightmare. And finally, what I think is the most telling lyric from the whole song is we want freedom. Freedom from being toys, freedom from the staff of Playtime, freedom of being test subjects. I honestly believe that this is what Poppy's mission is as a whole. They want the prototype dead due to his role in creating the Hour of Joy and his clear influence on some of the toys. And while I don't think the procedure can be reversed for the orphans, I think they just want to be able to be free and live out their lives themselves within the facility. That's the end goal. We can see back inside the housing quarters at Playcare, as the small smiling critters litter the hallways, and we see a scene of Catnap from behind with pictures on the wall, one of which is a picture of a young Theodore Gramble, the human version of Catnap, and also another picture of Hoppy Hopscotch, which is a little odd. What is the significance of Hoppy Hopscotch with Catnap? He was the smiling critter that Catnap reached a hand out to, and he was also one of the two smiling critters that sat with him in the bedroom, and now his picture's on the wall next to him. What do you guys think the relevance is there? We can see Catnap scratching a picture into the floorboards. This is the exact same picture that he drew as Theo, of him sitting on the bed while the prototype snuck out from underneath. Speaking of prototype, once again from the shadows, offering Catnap some support as we see a better view of the arm. It's clearly a human forearm bone, mixed with robotic elements and cords, and judging from the length of the arm bones, it looks like adult bones. Unless there's an orphan with limbs like Slender Man, my guess is that it's most likely an adult. The next line of "though life in the shadows isn't much, it's better than living in a cage," while visually showing Prototype and Poppy Playtime. This seems almost like a jab towards Poppy, remembering that Poppy openly stated that Prototype was the one that put her inside that cage, and the mention of living life in the shadows, which Prototype does, at least he isn't in a cage like Poppy was. These backing vocals are just extra creepy as the toys sing along. We get to see more traumatized Poppy, and even some Mr. Light as well before the song comes to an end. I mean, Poppy was having a terrible time throughout this music video, just scared out of her mind for almost all of it. While this is just a song release, and you do really have to take this with a grain of salt, I do think it has some interesting insight into what the minds of the orphans was possibly like, and partially their motivations and feelings about what happened during the Hour of Joy. What do you guys think? Do you think that the song has any relevance to the lore at all, or it's just simply a song and shouldn't be looked into too deeply? Also, what do you think the connection is between Hoppy Hopscotch and Catnap in this music video? I look forward to reading your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe for more in the future. Until next time, peace.